Hello, students of Bakersfield and College of the Canyons. I shouldn't be touching my face when I'm having a video. Okay, so here's the breakdown, the gist. I am 40, so this is not going to be the biggest technological feat that you've ever seen. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pivot back from my fancy work cubicle computer to myself to see the slides. So bear with me if it's a little shaky or whatnot. It's just because I don't know what I'm doing as far as videotaping goes. So, okay, Sophia Soko, chapter 5. We talk about self-sabotage in there. We talk about 3 kids who are juniors, so they've seen enough in high school to know, what their habits are and how their studying habits go, right, because they are juniors. So we have Jasmine, who's the perfectionist. We have Mateo, who asks for help. And we have Esperanza, who is super bright. These are all positive attributes about kids that are wanting to learn. They are willing to, they want to go to college, they just don't quite know how to get there, and their grades reflect that. So Jasmine, it turns out, she's afraid to put things down on paper. She's afraid to finish her thoughts, so to speak. So that does come down to, I think, being a perfectionist and being afraid to fail. I know that my son's teacher talks about my son, who he can't finish assignments, and it's frustrating to say the least for me, his mother. So it's I think it's a fear to fail. I'm trying to figure that one out myself, but it does happen. So you just don't do the assignment because you don't want that F of when you're putting in the effort, if that makes any sense. You'd rather just not do it and get the bad grade. I don't know. It's been an interesting year. So then we have Mateo, who's really good about asking for help, but his homework, when he gets home from school, his family is not, they're not pushing homework. His friends aren't pushing homework, so he's at the gym or he's hanging out late at night, but homework just escapes him. And we have Esperanza, who she's smart, she's soft-spoken, but she just gets stuck. So the commonality between these 3 kids, it seems like they just kind of get stuck. They start to know where they're going, and it just kind of peters out, and their grades, again, reflect that. So one thing that we can do, again, this is going to be really shaky and pivoty, but we're going to do it. Hopefully that works. Okay, so my numero uno ed talk session number 1. Is it shaky yet? Probably. All right, so when the teacher says to turn in your homework that you didn't turn to do, what do? Forget me not. So what the book was talking about, and it's so true in this day and age, we do have things like this called cell phones and technology. I didn't have this going to school, even in college. Cell phones were just coming out, and they were like brick phones that you may or may not have, and this certainly was not part of the equation. So we have this now. We have all kinds of reminders and emails from teachers to students and all kinds of things where we can just remind the kids, hey, do your homework. And even more so, guess what? I believe in you. Turn it in. I know you have it in you to finish the assignment because you started out doing great and you're doing your classwork. It's just finishing it. So that's kind of where we're at on that. And that always comes down to this, which is, okay, pivot, here we go. Listening. Assuming and wondering as a teacher won't provide you solid answers. What she was saying in the book, I'm going back to the other book that we were reading, but it's true, it was this one. You cannot presume or worry and wonder if you really don't know what's going on and you're not listening to the kids, right? So that's the first thing first is obviously you have to be prepared, but you have to listen as well. So that brings us to Paul Lay's Wake Up Club. That was primarily Spanish-speaking kids. We had couple of Farsi speakers and a couple other, English learners in there, but it was mostly Spanish primarily, right? Majority, you would say. So they tried to bridge the gap between the two because the Spanish, they had more expectations on them of the Spanish speakers, the Spanish speakers, and, their opportunities were greater because they were more confident. A lot of it does come down to confidence and feeling good about yourself and feeling involved. I was talking to a coworker about that today. So resiliency, these kids were resilient, and maybe just have more outside activities like they were talking about, such as cultural days, flag days, things like that. Gosh, my 5 minutes is almost up. Really quick, Deanna Martinez, she talked about the Billies. It was funny, or Danny, sorry, the Billies. And he talked about, it was kind of funny, the case of the Billies, which made me laugh out loud. So you learn something new every day. I so have a case of the Billies, and it's 5 minutes, and I'm an overworked mom, and the Christopher Columbus lady got obese, and so I'm the Billies. Okay, bye.